Well, no, not Carolina. The Florida Panthers are going to their third straight Stanley Cup final. Here's my thoughts on the Panthers eliminating the Hurricanes in five. Well, this was a tough game. This was a really tough game, and I think Florida had no reason to be in this game, considering how it started. And my initial thoughts on this game and this series as a whole is if Carolina played Florida how they played Florida in the first period, if they played like that for all the games that has been in this series, Carolina would be playing for a cup right now. There's just something different. There is a different vibe. There's a different, bravado to how that first period was, where aggressive, relentless, a little bit of chippiness too, but just the Hurricanes were just suffocating them. They were jumping on them. They were like exposing the defense on, okay, if you throw this way past us, because they brought all the guys in. There was nobody, lingering back. Like they pressed everybody because they were just super aggressive for the first 20 minutes. And it showed on the stat sheet too. It was 2-0. And then, like most hockey games, we settle in just a little bit, and the game definitely gets a little bit more interesting. Which we knew, like 2-0 is nothing. 2-0 is no lead at all, considering where we are at in the postseason and the kind of hockey that these guys play. And in the span of, 30 seconds game time, this went from a 2-0 game to a 2-2 game. Because I don't know if it was Gostisbehere, Carrier, whoever it was, which I do think Carrier had a big game. He was very aggressive, and this game was very chippy. Again, the Hurricanes, I think mentally they got to Florida in that first period. Like there was a little bit of extra pushing, a little bit of extra shoving, but whoever the penalty was on, it opened the door for Florida, and in the span of 30 seconds, this thing went from 2-0 to 2-2. And then you could just feel it where, well, okay, boys, it was a fun season. Because at that point, Florida had it. And then, sure enough, look at that. There's goal number 3. And from being down 2-0, Florida has an explosive second period. They go up 3-2. Now we go into the third period. Because at this point, too, Florida has now outscored Carolina, since being down 2-0. Bobrovsky's locked in. Everybody's playing the best. And now it's like cake. Here comes Florida. All they got to do is just milk the clock. Just play their kind of hockey for the final 20 minutes of the game. We had some late game heroics that turned this thing into a 3-3 tied game where it's like, holy hell, it's going to happen. Carolina is going to force game 6. But then the experience, I want to say the experience of Florida having been in these moments before. They've been in this moment against Carolina the last time we were in the Eastern Conference Final. They've been in this moment against the Rangers. They've been in this moment against the Oilers in the Stanley Cup. Florida has been here, and they've been in these moments. What do you know? We got, Captain Barkov forechecking it in, just muscling a pass over to Verhaeghe where he buries it in the back of the net. And all of a sudden, air's out of the building. Doesn't matter how much time's left in the game. It's now 4-3. Canes at one time were up 2-0. Like, just Florida outscored them for the rest of the game. Out-physicaled them. And I don't think the Hurricanes matched that physicality. And then, like, the empty netter at the very end of the game, I think was... I would say, it does fall on Coach Brendan Moore. But let's not kid ourselves. He will be the coach when Carolina hoists the cup. He will be. An overreaction, though, would be to say there's going to be changes. Because if there's going to be changes, I will say the changes that we feel Toronto might have, I'm kind of getting the vibe out of Carolina, too, because it's like, what needs to be different? Who are some key pieces that we need to move around? Because there's parts of me that feels Jarvis and Aho, I have a feeling one of them might go, because I don't know if both of them with Anderson, I don't know if those 3 will be there, including, Stahl and Burns and Chatfield. Like, there's parts of me that feel like there's going to be a little bit of a difference in the roster if the Canes can ever get past the Panthers. Because I think if the Panthers can lose in the first 2 rounds or something, and Carolina's again the luck of the draw by running into the Maple Leafs or Tampa or the Rangers or something in the Eastern Conference Final, maybe they might be able to push over the edge that time. But it sucks. It really does suck. And I think the aggressive play calling at the very end of the game, me personally, I wouldn't have done it. I would have done it under a minute, but to pull Anderson with over 2 minutes to go, would not have done that. But I mean, we know Coach Brendan Moore is one of the more aggressive coaches in the NHL, so live by the sword, die by the sword. Kind of because we've seen a lot in these postseasons where the coaches have been very aggressive and they pulled the goalie, and look what happens. Empty netter. Like it's happened in Minnesota, it's happened in Vegas, it has happened in the past. So strategy-wise, I guess I don't understand it as much as the coaches do. But then also, I don't think they put into effect too of the reason why that was an empty netter is not because Reinhardt's throwing it from the blue line or to Chuck or whatever on a breakaway. Bennett just came out of the box and beat everybody to that end. That's what it was. Is the power play ended, and look at that, someone cleared it, and then there's Bennett run, because it wasn't an offsides, it wasn't anything. It was just a routine. Okay, we don't have a goalie back here to clear it back out, so there's Bennett out of the box, all alone. So it was crazy how the ending of that game went. Because I'm thinking, if they don't pull him, and then under a minute, we have a loose scramble because Bennett's already out of the box. That penalty's already dead. We have, equal ice, equal ground and stuff. And then when you're making the final push with about 40 seconds left, and again, a lot of this depends on lines, who's out there. Then you make a push. Then you sub Anderson. I don't know how that could have gone. But Carolina, they, nothing to... Florida, you probably just lost to the team that's going to go back-to-back. Let's be real here. So that's my thoughts on that. Florida just has their number. And right now, Florida's playing the best hockey, and they're playing the best hockey on the road. So let's not overlook that either, because the best road team right now is the Florida Panthers. So, Leafs fans, there's one thing you can cheer about is that, hey, you took them to 7. But that's my thoughts on that, guys. Carolina fans, how you feeling? Florida fans, this is the 3rd straight one. How we feeling? We feeling optimistic about beating the Stars or Edmonton? It looks like we might have a rematch on our hands. But anyways, that's my thoughts on that, guys. Be sure to let me know in the comments section your thoughts. Be sure to hit the like button, guys. And I will see you in the next video.